Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas.
Thank you very much for watching.
Okay, this time I remembered to give this OBS, version OBS 27.2.3, time to start recording. It doesn't start running right away. That's something that they changed for some reason or improved it or something, but I have to watch now. This Avery Media USB webcam that I'm using for the video, every time I think just about every time I reboot, maybe not every time, but it wants to install, I forget what it calls it, but the drivers and the software for it, and it's like it's updated. I don't think it's updating it that often, but yesterday I just said, don't update it, and then I went ahead and recorded a video to put on YouTube, and the video looked good, no audio, and of course, I don't use the audio off of that. Anyway, I corrected it. I've moved, not everything, I've moved things in here for a number of reasons. So this soundproofing thing is over here. Well, one thing there, I don't know if you ever noticed, there was a shelf on the other side. I moved that around from time to time. A shelf on the other side, whoops, sorry about that, over there, and I decided that it would be better not being right on the other, and I have it underneath the whiteboard over there on that wall. That looks better, and maybe it'll help me find some things. I'm thinking about, but I want to wait a little bit. I'm thinking about hooking up my, leaving this alone because it's working. This is a Windows 11, and the audio is working. I shouldn't say anything. I think it jinxes me when I say something like that. I've got the monitor set up there, and I've got the Apple laptop right here. Let's see, it's, what did I say? 1214 model, mid 1214 or something. I don't think that I would want to use this laptop, and of course that's what a laptop is. I don't really think I would want to use it because of the size of the type. If you're a young person, your eyesight's probably better. But I just don't think, but I've got it now hooked to a monitor. And so, after playing with this a little bit, when it's hooked to the monitor, it's great. It looks great when it's not hooked to the monitor, but it's, so I'm thinking down the road a piece, maybe getting the iPad. Is that what they call well, let's do that. Let's see. It's one that's about $650, and it's a Apple computer. It's not a laptop, it's not a that mini, I do like that mini. That's kind of nice. The small, but let's see. What do I want to go to? Go to Amazon. And what is it called? The iPad? Let's go to iPad. iPad. I guess just the iPad. Now the 2020 Apple iPad Air, it looks good here, but it's handheld. Okay, well, they call this the mini, but wait a minute. This one here, the 2021 Apple iPad mini, and it's $600. Okay, why do I not have, oh, I see. Yeah, the iPad mini looks good, but $600 for that. And me looking at a cell phone or an iPad or anything, my arthritis really goes crazy if I do it for any length of time. So let's iPad Air, iPad mini, $460. Apple iPad Air 2, $200, renewed. I've never bought anything renewed, I don't think ever. But I understand these companies are really good, you know, they'll, like Amazon or something, they send, you know, it's supposed to be renewed, and then they send it out to you, and if you don't like, you know, you just send it back to them. A lot of renewed items here, and I guess this is a really good price for, you know, here's an Apple iPad Pro tablet, renewed, $193. Okay, what do they call their, oh, I guess down here will tell me. Is that the MacBooks? MacBook, is that, yeah, I think this is, you know, Apple MacBook. Here's one with an M1 chip, but it's a little bit over $1,000. That's just too much. Here's one for $2,000. Then you're getting into, you know, 2019 MacBook Pro, renewed. I thought you could get a renewed over $1,000. Oh, you know, yeah. Yep. I think I mentioned that I do not like Edge and Microsoft's attempt to just make you fight. You know, they I think when they update or something, or rather, they change the settings and you have to go through it again or something. It's a pain. It's a pain. I've got Chrome on here, of course. I've got Firefox. I've got Vendidia. And I don't think that I can get LastPass to work on here. Maybe if I do a search for LastPass, and surely it must work. I know they're trying to make it very secure and safer, because the other things, like, you know, will synchronize, like Chrome will synchronize with Firefox and that type of stuff. And if you have LastPass or something installed, it'll, you know, all these things will be and if you're using LastPass, then it, you know, signs you in automatically to them and you're all set up. But oh, I do like StartMe, but there's um, a bunch of features. I don't really pay any attention to them. I probably should. Of, you know, browsers that have things like that, and places that you can put your bookmarks and all that kind of stuff. And I'm sure they're probably good, but you know how old people are. I don't think it is just old people. We like, if something works, we want to keep it, you know, keep it working. Let's see, speed dial. This is Vindicti. I can't even say it now. I think I said it might. Bookmarks, imported bookmarks, imported from. Yeah, you know, I start page. Let's see. See if I remember. Or maybe I could have just clicked continue with Google. Okay, that worked. Okay. Now, if I go to, okay, start page. So if I go to, is it settings now? You know, yeah, and go to, okay, I've already set there. It says home page, make it specific page, and I've got start me there. Let's see. Start up with home page. Okay. So I think that should work, and I think I don't know why it. Okay, let's close that. Close this, and start Vindictia. Okay, it's starting with my start page. Like I said, I think there's probably better ways to do this. I have to, you know, I create all these things and put them, you know, into area, like, you know, these are bookmarks, but there's ham radio. All these are ham radios, links, money, you know, bank, credit cards, all that kind of stuff. Medical, you know, so I can get my chart and information from my doctor. Walgreens, I can check on my prescriptions, all this stuff there. My sites, okay, whole bunch of stuff. What's this? Podcast. I think I'm supposed to be doing a podcast, and I forgot all about it. I've only done one episode. I sign up for everything, don't I? Oh. Playlist. Oh, anyway, let's see if it was. I don't think it's going to automatically log me in because this is Vindictia, and it's going to want the. Okay, welcome back. Connect with. Okay, if I try Google, let's see if it'll connect me automatically. Okay. No, it wants a password for Google. That's why I have LastPass. I do recommend LastPass. I pay a very small amount of money each year. Once a year, it's a very small amount of money. Or you can use it for free, but if you pay the little membership fee or whatever, you get some benefits, which I don't think I use really. Maybe I do, I don't know. So, anyway, oops, gotta take my medicines. I just got a little bit of stuff on my bed, and when I get it cleared off, I can take a nap. Okay. Morning medications. And then Naproxen I'm not going to take, although my arthritis is hurting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pills. One's a capsule. I think I'll wait on that. Sometimes my nose wants to run. Oh, and one's a water pill. I better not take the water pill right now. I'd like to be able to get away from the restroom. I'm a regular visitor to the restroom. Let's try swallowing these here. I made it. If you watch my videos, which nobody's going to watch all of them. Of course, I mentioned it several times that, see, I got married at age 26. For a couple years in there after age 26, I still could not swallow pills. And I'm not sure if I looked it up on YouTube. Not sure there was a YouTube then. I think, did YouTube start in 2005? Was that it? Can't remember. But I sort of grew up alone. And I don't think my parents taught me something, because I was an adult. And I would, fill my mouth with water and try to swallow the pills, and they were floating around. Oh, they had all that water there. They were floating around all over the place. And then at some point, maybe something from the internet or something, nobody told me, I don't believe. You need just a little bit of water to wash those pills down. You don't need them floating all over the place, going for a sightseeing tour, in your mouth. And I think I mentioned the other day that when I was a grown man and could not swallow pills, I'd ask the doctor to write, a liquid instead of, or, something, and, go take my prescription, and the pharmacist is this for a child? Because he was saying that, I'm sure, or she, because probably the dose was probably, and maybe maybe the medicine too would be like, you know. And I'd say, no, it's for me. And I think they might say, and I'd say, well, I can't swallow pills. I was probably the pharmacist probably went back around the corner or whatever and was probably laughing or something. Somebody needs to, there's things you need to learn. Like I said, I pretty much grew up on my own. Both my parents worked. And there was one summer, I believe, and my parents, I must have been 5, maybe 6, something like that. Must have been one summer, and so my parents must have undoubtedly lied and said and went to a 7-day Adventist daycare center and got me in. And the reason that I found out about that was the lady teacher, whatever, said, "Okay, did all you guys go to church on Saturday?" And they, "Oh, yay!" I said, "No, I went Sunday." They know you're confused. You went on Saturday. You go on Saturday. And no, I go on Sunday. And so they sent a note home. I think then they must have. There was a guy that I think he picked us up. I don't know if how many, but there was a guy who picked us up for the daycare center, take us. But I remember also though a bus taking me home on, well, the day that I was standing outside in the. By the way, I remember at that age, we had our blankies, and we would take a nap on the floor with a, blanket or whatever. But there were 2 girls that were identical twins or whatever. So we were out in the parking lot, and, outside the daycare center. And, we were standing over by the window, one of those ground level windows, and I didn't know, and I don't think the girls knew that inside there, but down a little bit, down, was, I think, the cafeteria. And so these girls were on each side of me, raising up their dress. And I actually don't remember looking, but maybe I pretended like I looked. But I got taken inside, taken to a classroom, the empty classroom, and the person took chalk and put a whole bunch of chalk on the thing, and that made me keep my nose on that. But I remember that day going home by bus, and the 2 girls, were up in the window when I got off at my stop or whatever, and they were waving to me, and I was waving back. I don't think my parents heard about that. But I remember this guy who drove us, and that must have been, maybe that was the deal, because we went to church, undoubtedly a 7-day Adventist church, and so we were all, there from a car. I remember, too, he used to say, "Straighten up and fly right," and we'd say, "I can straighten up," whatever his name, let's say Smith. "I can straighten up, Mr. Smith, but I can't fly." But, so then we were in there, and they started passing around the Last Supper or something, And each kid, so, they, it got handed to me, and then the driver or whatever, passed it on to the next person. And even then at that age, I knew, because that was because of, I remember, being told in that classroom, no, you Jimmy, no, you go on, you go on Saturday. So I think the word must have got around, and probably my parents had prepaid or something, and so. But I think what happened is that my grandmother, my mother's mother, uh, moved in with us and lived with us for about a year and a half or two, and so then I didn't need to go to the. But then after she passed away, which was about the second grade or whatever, although I went to the second grade twice because I'd wake up when Grandma was there. Actually, I called her Mom, and I called my father and mother Jim and Betty. But I remember her, I'd wake up and she'd say, "How are you?" And I'd say, "I don't feel well." And then she'd say, "Well, maybe you better stay home from school." And I stayed home from school. I think she just wanted the company. I mentioned this, I think I was talking about this the other day. By the way, I've got a picture of her someplace. No, I don't think I have a late picture. I got one, because I was just going through deleting some pictures and, see, wait a minute. I'm reorganizing my files a little bit. By the way, I've had for years Toshiba 4 terabyte. I finally hooked it up last week here on this, and then I formatted it, and even though it's Windows 11, it still would not format. I thought it would for 4 terabytes. I knew it, but it formatted like Windows usually does, 2 terabytes only. But I want to straighten it, see. Output videos. No, that doesn't. Oh, I know. It's which I was just talking about that I don't like. What is it? Well, maybe it's images. We'll find something here. This is not a good picture, but this is my mother right here with red hair in graduating grade school in 1932. If that looks strange to you, that's because that's the G7 or the Panasonic beautification thing. You can select beautification. I don't think it may be beautiful, but it did eliminate some of these signs of old age on me. You've seen that before. That's me in California during World War II. Let's see. Nope. Oh, wait a minute. These are some that I just took, by the way. These, and that's with using this camera, but just using the webcam software and snapping the picture. Oh, this reminds me. I think the lighting's probably a little bit better. I finally hooked back up. I've got, I think, 3 sets of those, with the umbrella thing. And this is with that light on, and this is with the light, not on. Just using a lamp, which has now been moved. This is why, one reason that you'll see me wearing a hat. Let's Let's see. You know, I paid for this thing, and I had trouble with it too. I still want to use it for something because it looks like it's got all kinds of, you know. But I don't want to mess with this thing because the audio is working. Earlier today, for a little bit, I was rounding up stuff for the Panasonic G7 that I'm sending to a friend. I have everything. In fact, some of the stuff in the box has never been even opened, you know. And I've got some extra batteries for it too. Then I've got that battery eliminator thing. Then I've got the Elgato, what do they call that? Where you hook it up. That's why the battery eliminator is, you know, important to have. Anyway, where that you can stream or take pictures. You can stream with the Panasonic G7, and you can even, which I never got around to doing, there's an app for your cell phone, and you can control, so you could be live streaming and or just making a video and be using the Panasonic G7 and, you know, do settings and stuff on your let's see, where are the rest of the pictures? Oh, OneDrive. There's where the, okay. Let's see, OneDrive. This is the Union Station in Kansas City, Missouri. And they've set this up to show recognition to the Ukraine and what's going on. I used to work like where this camera was probably set up was the post office for Kansas City, Missouri. Now I don't know what building this was. Looks new. Or maybe that's not. Yeah, it's not a sign on that. That's just somebody's logo or whatever for who took the picture. And then there's some stuff in the background, also lit up for the Ukraine. I don't want to alter somebody's photograph. I'm sure they wouldn't appreciate it. But I'd like to have the room down here to put that this is Union Station, Kansas City, Missouri, lit up for, you know, in support of the Ukraine. And then what I'd like to do is put in a link so somebody could donate to help in some way. Let's see. Let's see. Whoops. Where was I? Oh, okay, this is Union Station. Jim's notebook. Oh, okay. Well, this is... Oh, okay. This is my father's mother, my grandmother. And my father had 6 brothers and 3 sisters, and these are the 3 sisters. You know, and this is, of course, their mother. And all 3 of these aunts were really, really nice. they felt sorry for me. And one reason I think at this point or whatever, my mother was, God, I hope she didn't call Grandma, but my mother would come home. My mother was a drinker, my father was a drinker, and she'd come home from work. Both of them worked every day. They never missed a day's work. She'd come home, make herself a sandwich, get her address book out, and start with A. Unfortunately, I think this one was Anderson. No, this one I think was Anderson, yeah. So she was A. She was lucky. They were lucky because my mother would start calling, I guess, 6 p.m. But some of these Howards, she'd be calling them at 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning. And they would hang up on her sometimes, I guess. And then she'd, got disconnected, and then she'd call them back. Wasn't funny to me at the time, but not funny now either. Let's see. No favorites? We've looked everywhere and I can't find the favorites. Anyway, I guess I better get, wait a minute, see if there's any, I know what I need to do is make view, make it a little bit bigger. Okay. Small icons? Nope, not big enough. View, medium icons. Ah, there we go. Oh, okay. This is the grandmother that I mentioned, my mother's mother, who I called Mom because my mother called her Mom. This would be my mother, Betty, and about a year older is, her brother. Hallie or Stallsworth, who I called Mom. She came when I was, now this is, of course, dates right on the back of the picture. The man that she married, they had these two children, and one being my mother, and the other, her brother. They got divorced, and Mom ended up with Betty, of course, and Bert ended up with Billy. Bert, who was a member of the Klan, but back then, I think about 2/3, maybe I'm wrong, I think 2/3 of the men in America were members of the, Knights of, I started saying not the Knights of the Columbus, the Klan. But he refused to pay any alimony. He was even taken into court and told the judge, I'm not paying, and he never did pay. Maybe the judge was a member of the Klan too. I'm not sure if this, it might be a few years later. She had total heart block. And back then, if you had total heart block, by the way, I have total heart block, but I have a pacemaker. And I'm on medicine, And so she wasn't expected to, to live. In fact, for General Hospital, which was like the county hospital, it was a teaching hospital too, so at the beginning of, I guess, maybe not, at a certain point, the doctor would come and pick her up and take Hallie to the hospital and do his report on her. Here's a lady that has, total heart block, blah, 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 whatever. Well, she wasn't expected to live. Anyway, you just saw a picture a while ago of, Betty graduating from grade school. And what was the medication that grandma took, which was somehow sometimes that comes to me, that name, and she would overdose. I mean, she would take, because it was, so when she moved in with us, and I think she moved in, well, one, she needed a place to go, and I needed somebody to stay, be, so my job was to give her the medicine that when she was supposed to take it, and control the medicine so she didn't, what's the name of that? But anyway, my grandmother here, she read to me all the books, Treasure Island, Count of Monte Cristo, all those books. I can't think of any of the classics or the things that, a young person probably should read. She read them to me. And I'm guessing, anyway, let's see. Okay, let's say first grade, first grade. No, kindergarten, you're 5. Kindergarten, you're 5. First grade, you're 6. Second grade, you're 7. I flunked the second grade, so I was 8. So I think that she must have died when I was 8 or 9, because I got woke up. I slept in the living room, on I think a roll-away bed, I think. And she had, my parents had a room, and then she had a room, and I got woke up as my mother was taking her, I don't know what time it was, late, got woke up to General Hospital, and I'd been to General Hospital sometimes with my mother, but I had to wait like downstairs. Sometimes I was waiting downstairs right across from the morgue, and they would wheel a cart down with a sheet on it and open up the door, and you could look at, I mean, I didn't go over and look in, but I mean, sitting there. But anyway, my mother said, I'm taking Mom to the hospital. And then when I woke up in the morning or whatever, my mother, Betty, told me that she had passed away. After that, I was on my own at that age, pretty much on my own. What other pictures? Well, I think it's time to get out of here. Enough of talking about the good old days, huh? My mother's brother, he, unfortunately, he had, his father was, also, when, he was, when his father, Anyway, when my mother got married, her father, who had been a member of the Klan, he refused to go to the wedding because it was a Catholic, Catholic mass, and he refused to go. I've got a baby book around here someplace, and but he did show up because his name was entered, for certain birthdays or something like that. But he married a real nice lady, and they stayed married, until he passed away. um, uh, but what was I going to say? Anyway, he was an alcoholic, and uh, he made it hard on his wife and his. See, he had a cousin, or he had a son they had a son that was born, I think, in 1941 when I was born, and he passed away. And anyway, they had another son, Billy, and he was a year younger than I was, and he had a hard life because of his, father being an alcoholic and an abusive alcoholic, and Billy quite often would just have to leave, the house at all hours, 3 a.m. in the morning or something like that. So, but on the Howard side of the family, I must have had 80 cousins or more, and I saw a few at a few occasions, but Billy, he was like the only one and that was just a few times, that I associated with him. One of my earliest memories was my father and his brothers after World War II. My father was not in the military, all his brothers were. But my father and one of his brothers, maybe another one kicked into, built a, what do they call those, the metal sheds or whatever, and I remember I slept on the wall, and I had to make sure I didn't, but I remember getting woke up one night because Bill was, I don't know if he was actually punching his wife or if he was threatening or, just being loud or what the situation, but I remember getting woke up and we had to go someplace and meet Willie, his wife, and she stayed with him through everything, and they had Billy, and then Janet and Johnny, and I think that was it. And then anyway, Billy, but you better not say anything about his dad, the abuser, or you'd have got, But anyway, Billy, and I don't know how old he was, I'm going to have to guess. I'm going to guess he was in his early 20s. I don't know what he was doing in Dallas, but because of his parents, where was it? Oklahoma. It's where the red poppies are made, or whatever. Maybe they're made other places too, but Willie worked there. Maybe it was just for Memorial Day, I'm not sure. Now, I think they pretty much worked her. She was but anyway, Billy was at a tavern and with a friend of his, and they got into an argument about something, and they went outside to fight. And I imagine, Billy would have been probably like his father when it came, like drinking and getting angry or whatever. And his friend pulled out a gun, shot and killed him. Billy and I did not see each other a lot, but I was only a year older than he was, but he liked me, and I guess because one time I went over, there's a couple times I went over and stayed overnight at their house, and there's a couple times he came and stayed overnight with us. And anyway, one time I went over there, I got dropped off by my mother, and like I said, Willie was really nice. And then she said, oh, Billy's over at the YMCA swimming. And why don't you just go over and see him over there? You can go swimming. And I said, oh, okay, but I don't have a swimming suit. And she said, oh, they don't allow swimming suits there. And I thought, I'm going to get to see a naked person, because I'd never seen a naked person. So I headed over that way, and then some kid about my age, maybe a little bit older, he stopped me and said, where are you going? You're new here, or something like that. Something like that, and I said, I'm going over, my cousin's over at the YMCA swimming. And he said, who's your cousin? And I said, and he said, oh, you're Jimmy. I think that's what, you're Jimmy, his cousin. And I said, yeah. He says, oh, he's told me all about you. That you're a Golden Gloves, champion or whatever. I was pretty thin, and I don't think I looked like my cousin must have been a pretty good liar. But anyway, pretty quick. Anyway, I wanted to get back to seeing a naked person, because I'd never seen a naked person. And then my cousin came along, so I never got to see a naked person. Eventually, I guess I did. Anyway, how long has this been? Wow, almost an hour. How come you didn't stop me? Okay. Thanks for watching.